morning, boys and girls, and welcome to Let's Get Cooking. My name is Miss Jeannie, and I work at the Community Library in Salem, Wisconsin. And I'm glad you joined me this morning. And before I get started, I just want to say a real good thank you to my grandkids this summer. They helped do quite a few programs this summer while they were off school, and really appreciate all their help. So that was a fun treat. So maybe next summer we'll try something again like that. Today we are going to be making baked oatmeal squares. And we're going to be using the recipe that actually comes from the Chef Junior 100 Super Delicious Recipes by Kids for Kids. This is another one of the fun library books that I have found, and it has wonderful step-by-step directions and wonderful pictures as well. And so this is one that I would recommend, and you can check it out at the library. All right, and so I have my items here and we are ready to go. I wanted to mention that I've got this funny necklace on today. It's actually a microphone, so I'm hoping it works well. I did have a comment that sometimes you couldn't hear me real well in past videos, so I thought, well, let's try this. So I do find that it gives me a little feedback, but hopefully this is going to work out. Appreciate any input that you can ever give. And I want to do a shout out to Larissa, one of our young girls that comes to the library. She was part of one of my art classes. She sent me a wonderful email, and really appreciate hearing from you, Larissa. And she has been enjoying watching these videos as well as making these items. So thanks for the feedback, because I really appreciate hearing from you boys and girls and seeing what's happening in your lives and whether or not you've actually enjoyed some of the recipes. Hopefully you're able to make a couple of them. All right, well, today is a baked oatmeal square, and in the recipe it actually says that it makes 6 servings. However, I will tell you that I would say that's going to be at least double, if not more, because the pieces are going to be fairly large, as you'll see at the end, and there's a lot. Oatmeal is very filling, and so this would be a great item to make for like your family breakfast, maybe on a Sunday or a special Sunday or a special day during the week. And like I said, it should feed quite a few people, and it's very healthy. And so we'll get started here. I preheat my oven to 350 already, and so you'll need to do that as well. And it calls for a stick of butter. So I have a picture, or I have a stick right here, but I've already put mine in a small saucepan like this on the stove, because in the recipe it says to melt it and then let it cool. So in order for me to do this morning, I wanted to do it ahead of time. But if you're doing this at the same time with me, the trick that I would tell you is to go ahead and melt your butter. And then what I did the last time I made this, I put a heating pad or a hot pad in my refrigerator and just set my butter in the refrigerator for like 5 minutes, and that cooled it off. So that'll be a first thing that you'll want to do before you start this recipe, is to get your butter ready. Okay, and so the next thing that we are going to do is we're going to crack some eggs. We have 4 eggs, and I have my little glass container here. How many of you are good at cracking eggs, huh? Usually I have a napkin ready, and I go ahead and crack it and put my eggshells right on the napkin. It just helps the mess. And so go ahead and get your eggs cracked. And then it says to use a whisk and to stir them up or whisk them up. Do any of you boys and girls, or are you those of you young at heart that are watching me today, do you know what a whisk is? This is a whisk. You probably were looking on the counter here because this is what it looks like. And we're going to just whip up our eggs like this. Now if you don't have one of these, one of the things I use often is a fork. And a fork would work as well. So we're just going to get our eggs ready here. And as you noticed, I don't have a large bowl because we're actually going to be putting the rest of the ingredients right inside the pan that we're going to bake. This is the one I'm going to use. It is a 9 by 11 and it does not say to grease it, so I haven't. I've just left it like this. The next step is going to be to take my Quaker oats. I have the old-fashioned oatmeal. Almost forgot what this is. And so this is our oatmeal, and it calls for 6 cups of rolled oats. And so depending on what you have, that was 1. Are you counting with me? 2, 3, 4. This particular kind of oatmeal that we use here at our house actually has a little surprise on the inside of the cover. And it's kind of a funny, I'm going to give you a little tidbit into our family, our crazy humor. But my husband, Greg, loves to make raisin oatmeal cookies. And he tells people that it's his famous secret recipe, but it's actually right on the back of the top of the Quaker Oats old-fashioned oats. So if you make it, let me know. So, all right, we have 6 cups of oatmeal inside our pan here. All right. And now we're going to start adding some items along with our oats. We're going to add some baking powder, and it calls for 4 teaspoons of baking powder. And this is what it looks like. So we're going to just throw 4 teaspoons in here. This actual teaspoon I'm using is actually a teaspoon and a half, so I'm going on a little bit light on it. But you're going to want a teaspoon. So we'll put 4 teaspoons of baking powder. All right. And then it calls for the salt. And the salt is 1 teaspoon of salt. So we're going to put a teaspoon of salt. Put that in there. And the next item is cinnamon. And cinnamon is also a teaspoon. And I'm going to just take the top off. It's a little easier to put in my teaspoon here. And we're just going to throw the cinnamon right inside there. And then the next item is going to be milk. Now I have 2%, 2 cups of 2% milk here. Now if you have a different kind of milk that you like at home, you can use that as well. You could also use yogurt. So I would go with just the plain yogurt though, okay? But this is 2 cups of milk. I'm going to just pour it right on top. All right, and then to use honey rather than sugar if I can. And so this is the honey I've chosen to use. And I've already put it in my container. I had to take the top completely off in order for it to come out. So we're going to put honey right inside the pan here. So hopefully you can see this here. Right? So here is our honey. And it's kind of gooey and sticky, but I have a spatula, that's what this is called, and the spatula can scoop it out very well. If you don't have a spatula, you can always use a spoon as well. And you can taste your honey if you like. This one actually has a little clove in it. Different. Did you know that every honey, different kinds of honey have different tastes? And this actually has a little bit of clover taste in it. All right, so we have our honey, and then our cooled melted butter. So we're going to go ahead and take our butter here and pour it in. Okay, I'm going to set this down. And then, do you have any idea what would be the next thing? If you said eggs, you are right. So here is our eggs, our 4 eggs. So we're going to add that. And we have almost all our ingredients. What do I not have yet? If you said blueberries, you are right. Matter of fact, the recipe calls for blueberries frozen. So when I bought my blueberries a week ago, I actually put them right in the freezer. And that's something you're going to want to do as well. So you get them at least a day ahead of time and put them in the freezer. And the container of a square container of blueberries is actually 2 cups. So it calls for 2 cups of frozen blueberries, and that's what is right here. I took them and rinsed them first and then put them in this cup. And we're not going to add them right away though, because we need to stir what we have first. And so boys and girls, you're going to have to do a really good job of stirring this up inside the pan without it getting out. So go ahead and do that. Make sure that it gets completely mixed up, because remember, there's a few small items like only a teaspoon of cinnamon, and we want to make sure cinnamon gets evenly spread around. So doing that. And I was thinking about the blueberries here, and I was thinking it would be kind of fun to, if you have a glass of juice, like a glass of apple juice or even orange juice in the morning, if you saved a couple of blueberries in your freezer, you could actually add that to your juice like a ice cube, and it would keep your drink cold plus add some flavor. So that's kind of fun. You can do that with strawberries and other kinds of fruit as well. All right, I think we have it pretty good here. Want to make sure the eggs and the milk, everything gets well, stirred together. And then after everything is in, we're going to add the blueberries. And if you said, what do we do next? What do you think? We're going to be baking it. All right. So, and when I made this last time, we actually used this as a dessert as well. So you could save it for a breakfast, or you could have it with maybe ice cream as a dessert. So let's go ahead and add our blueberries. And they are cold. And the reason we add the blueberries frozen, why do you think we do that? Why do you think it's a good idea to have frozen blueberries in here? Any ideas? Well, the blueberries will stay, they won't be breaking up, they'll actually stay in form. So first of all, they look really pretty inside your bars that we're making here. And it also has, in the recipe here, I thought this was fun. This was something I learned. Pectin. It's the pectin in the blueberries that keep the oatmeal together in this recipe. Pectin is like a sort of healthy gelatin. It's in other things as well, but blueberries are full of pectin. So taking the blueberries away would make the squares crumbly and hard to hold. So the blueberries actually are going to be what helps hold this together, because this baked bars are going to be somewhat soft. They're not going to be hard like some recipes. So what do you think? Do you think it looks pretty good? All right, well, I'm going to add it to our oven, and we are going to bake it on 350, and the recipe says 35 to 40 minutes, and so I'll see you soon. All right, boys and girls, I actually baked our squares for 40 minutes, 42 minutes, something like that. And this is what they look like when they were done. I did wait till they got a little bit brown around these edges, because the top won't turn, well, it shouldn't. You don't want to burn it, but the edges should get a little brown, just so that you're sure that it is done. All right, and so I actually cut myself a piece, and as you can see, it's pretty moist, and even when it completely cools off, it's still going to be a little bit moist in consistency. And so the house smells so wonderful right now, which is a fun thing to happen during the fall, is not only to have some wonderful snacks and hopefully some fun new ones like this one, and then also to have the house smell so wonderful is just such a fun treat. So I'm going to go ahead and taste this, and it tastes wonderful. And so again, you could use this for breakfast, or you could use this for a dessert with some whipped cream or ice cream. In the morning for breakfast, you could put even some cream on top of it if you wanted to. And remember when I said that the recipe said that it serves 6? I don't think so. I think it serves a lot more than that. But you can see how your family likes it and let me know. Now next month, we're also going to do another fall fun item, baked item. It's actually called applesauce snack cake. And so it's going to have a little bit of spice in it, and you can serve that warm or cooled down. And so I have a picture right after this. Have a great day. Bye-bye.